Christophe, good to see you again in Beijing.
Pleasure, good to see you as well.
Yeah. The world is changing so quickly, so fast, within a shorter period of time. And therefore, how business can develop and make sure it has the space to maneuver, whether it's governance, whether it's technology cooperation, or many other areas. How are you mapping this out? Because you are taking over this position at the most difficult time, should I say, in terms of the world's changing.
Yeah, of course, the world is more complicated. There are a lot of dislocation. So we are present in 80 countries.
Sure.
At Takeda. So we need to do a lot of scenario planning. We want to be able to predict what are the different scenarios. I think the worst for a business is if you don't know what will happen, but you know if that happens, what are your scenario? That's much better than not knowing anything. So we do a lot of scenario planning right now to also understand what are our risks, our opportunities, and also anticipate these risks.
What is the biggest risk? What is the biggest opportunity, you think?
So the biggest risk for us is that, again, a pharmaceutical company like us is highly global. Usually we have 1 or 2 manufacturing sites per molecule for the world.
Yes.
So of course, if that requires free movement of goods, if that's not possible anymore, that will create a huge dislocation in our industry.
So protectionism, certainly, it should not be.
I would hope that health will stay out of geopolitics. Because again, one new medicines discovered in country A will benefit the entire patient in the world. So I will just hope that health should stay out of geopolitics or trade tension. And in fact, health should be the reason why
people are together.
Exactly. And collaborate.
Yeah, indeed.
Yes.
Pharmaceutical companies around the world are experiencing a grand transformation. There are different priorities they are struggle with, depending on which company we're talking about. But what about for you? How do you see which stage is that transformation taking place in your industry and also for your company?
So there are many different transformations going on at the same time.
Yes.
There is a scientific transformation, and I think it's a very advanced number of new targets, the number of new type of medicine that we can develop has expanded greatly. And we are seeing that with our pipeline, for example, at Takeda. Our pipeline is much more diverse and we can really deliver very innovative medicine. And then there is also a transformation driven by technology, data, and AI. And I think we are at the beginning of that transformation, but it is a very fast-moving transformation.
And also governance?
Governance also, of course, because geopolitics is
complicated.
is complicated. So we need to also adapt. The rules are changing. The pharmaceutical industry is highly global because medicines discovered in China is often, in most cases, useful in the United States, in Europe, and vice versa.
Yes.
So we have built a very global type of industry. And of course, if there is less globalization, more dislocation, it's much more complicated to manage, but we need to adapt.
Also, in terms of funding, because we all have limited amount of funding, right? Especially now when the economy is experiencing, some say stagnation, others say unpredictable time. So as a global company, where do you put your money? Into the R&D, into manufacturing, in order to guarantee more secure the supply chain, or into people and employment. All of these, I'm sure, as the CEO, you're struggling with every day.
Yeah, I think the key for an innovation-driven company like us is that we know that our current product will eventually face generic and will disappear.
Yeah.
So we need to constantly invest in R&D to renew our pipeline. We need to improve our productivity doing that. That's really always a critical. If we don't invest in R&D, we will disappear. So that's always a must. Now, we need to be more efficient in the way we do R&D, and we are more and more efficient, and that's also helped by technology and AI. Now, which disease we develop
You
medicinal
focus
gains,
on,
we are
yeah.
focusing on. Well, we have some expertise in some disease, not all, but what we are focusing on at Takeda is where we can really transform the standard of care. So we are not interested by incremental innovation. We are really looking at life-transforming medicines where we are much better than standard of care. We think that in an environment where funding is limited, this is the right approach, because for government, for payers, they might stop a Me Too, but they will still reimburse a life-transforming medicine. So that's our strategy.
But that could mean longer research time. That could mean unprecedented roads ahead.
Yes.
In terms of R&D.
Yeah, it can be riskier,
yeah.
because of course you are looking for a bigger impact. But we think we have no choice. We need to be very clever in mitigating that risk.
How?
Well, by understanding well the disease, the biology. So we have a team dedicated by disease, so they understand it very well. Technology and AI is helping us also to reduce the risk, because we can understand better what will be the impact of the disease. We can use modelization. And what we are seeing is that the duration of development is shortening, actually. It doesn't take longer to develop medicine, it takes shorter. And that's also driven by technology and AI. Yeah.
Now we see large language models such as DeepSeek, ChatGPT, and the list that goes on, especially with DeepSeek, with opening source. It has provided a new opportunity for industries around the world and for societies. Where do you think your opportunities are as a result of a matured large language model and agents particularly?
Yes. Well, data on AI is transforming our industry across, is transforming Takeda.
Oh, so much, isn't it?
Yeah, but across the entire value chain, in research, in development, in manufacturing, in
something
regulatory.
you have to do for 7 years, you can do now.
Yeah, you can.
7 days.
So for us, it's completely transformative. It will increase our productivity so much. And I think
so that's R&D.
that.
What else?
So in research, we do molecule design using AI. In development, for example, we test our protocol against large data, patient data models, to understand if our protocol has the right inclusion criteria. In manufacturing, we do a lot of we do predictive maintenance, for example, using data on AI. To understand before a machine breaks down, we can predict it, for example. When we treat patients, we are using data on AI to accelerate diagnosis. Earlier this afternoon, I was using the example of a molecule that we are developing against narcolepsy. There are 700,000 narcoleptic patients in China, which is a disease where you fall asleep. It's very traumatic. And only 5% of these patients are diagnosed. AI will accelerate that and will allow faster diagnosis. It will be totally transformative. And I think China, having a lot of data, and also the technology science with it, with large language model or machine learning, is very well positioned. Actually, Takeda just opened in Chengdu a tech center.
Oh, okay.
To help us doing this transformation.
And the open source thing, it's a big gift for everyone, because it's not everyone that can develop large language models, and it used to cost so much, the so-called scaling law. But now it becomes a daily thing for everyone as a result. How do you think that can be better tapped by your industry, by your company?
We have access to many machine learning
different large language models.
Different large language models. Personally, I think open source is great because you don't want one or two tech company to own a large language model. So I think
monopoly, too much monopoly.
I think it will diversify the type of LLM we can have access to. But for us, the LLM is one thing, but it's the application.
Yes.
And doing the process change and making sure in many parts of healthcare, in healthcare, in pharmaceutical, in many of our processes, we want to be sure about the input on the output. We cannot be 90% right. We need to be 100% always right in many of our processes.
Yeah.
So it requires a lot of work even when you have an LLM available. Yeah.
Now, tell me more about how do you see some of the latest policy emphasis in China? As you know, during China's annual political season, policies were decided as to where is the emphasis of innovation. Among the 4 big categories, biomedicine is on top of the list, yeah?
Yeah.
So how do you see that has been translated in policy, translated into business environment you're having here?
Yes, there has been a very strong transformation. So, of course, if you want the development of Chinese biomedicine, you need a reward for risk and innovation. So that's the reimbursement system, allowing these medicines to be approved and reimbursed. So that will benefit Chinese startup. There has been other regulations which are very important in IP, intellectual property.
Of course.
It's much more advanced.
So important for your field.
Yeah, it's critical, and it's much more advanced now than before. There is still some work to be done to really be best in class, but it's really important, this development. Yeah.
Christophe, what an important cause. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.